It is my pleasure now to introduce Jesse Galef, who is the Communications Director of the Secular Student Alliance, and who is really amazing at his job. The thing that a lot of people don't know about Jesse is that while he is also the Communications Director, and he does things that are very appropriate for a Communications Director to be doing, like getting us in the New York Times, getting us in the Chronicle of Higher Education, and getting us in USA Today, and by the way, that's all since January. Jesse is actually also our administrative person. So he comes into my office and is like, August, why do we enter memberships this way? This is insane. We should make it better, and this is how we can make it better. And he's right. And so he is really a man of many, many talents. And media is definitely super, super high on that list. And with no further ado, I give you Jesse Galef.
Try to get the mic on. Let's do that. I told you what I was doing, didn't I? So, thanks August for the introduction. Yes, I would love to do communications full-time, but in a small nonprofit, we have so many jobs we have to do, and I'm glad to be able to do more. The SSA is such a great organization. I love what I'm doing. It's a dream job. I'm here to talk about how to become a media pirate. Our talks, August gives a talk about how to be a fundraising ninja. Liz talks about keeping your group from becoming a zombie. So the only thing cooler than zombies and ninjas is pirates, clearly. The real ultimate power, ninjas side. So why bother? What is a media pirate? What are you doing? Reaching out to the media isn't for every group. It depends what you're trying to do. So, local groups on campus or off campus, it depends what you're doing. So, if this is you, do you keep your group secret? Avoid eye contact? Just hide. If you hide, the media is probably not for you. They will publicize you. They will help. Otherwise, if you're like this group, the one that actually tries to influence the world, goes out and publicizes events, tries to change people's opinion, then there's no reason not to reach out to the media. It can be done, and how many of you table, go out and try to hand out flyers? Yeah. How many of you talk to people about your group? Yeah. So you spend time on this, and you clearly care, you want people to hear about it. So what if there were somebody else who could do it for you to like thousands, hundreds of thousands of people in your community for free, and drop it off at their doorstep, or put it in a convenient location where other people would come to learn about it? It's the media, in case you didn't get the reference there. So the media pirate, the idea is to commandeer the media and direct them to spread your message. So I want to give some examples. You really can do this. Local groups, campus groups. This is something I just wanted to share a couple of great success stories. Stone a Heathen Day at the University of Georgia. The UG Atheists carried around signs, Stone a Heathen, and they had quotes from Leviticus and Deuteronomy about why heathens should be stoned. And they asked people to pay $1 to throw a water balloon at them. UG Atheists get stoned for their own amusement. I'm sure on campus it has a very different meaning, but the double entendre was fun. So this got them a newspaper spot in their campus newspaper. Actually a video as well on the school's news site. New members, it was at the start of the semester, so a lot of people heard about this, saw it, and joined the group. And also, suddenly they have this image of being the fun-loving group. The article, which I don't want to quote at length, but somebody's quoted as saying that I'm not an atheist, but I really loved what they were doing. It was so much fun, I wanted to get to know them. This is the kind of image that they wanted to spread, and they succeeded. Another one, food for free thought. Joel Tormson of the Metro State Atheists was doing a project where if people brought in food donations for a local food bank, he would give them a banned or free thought book. This was in conjunction with Banned Book Week with the American Library Association. And we worked together. I helped him draft a press release, get a press list out. And he got coverage in the Denver Post, which is enormous. I think it has a circulation of 700,000 people in the Denver area. And this got so many people coming and reading about it. Not only did they get over 1,000 pounds of food, which they then dropped off at the Rocky Mountain Food Bank. here you go. But this is tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people reading about non-believers doing good work. This is something that you would talk to people about, but the media can help it reach more people and influence the world more. So, how does this work? If you're President Obama, you can go up to a journalist and say, hey, I have an opinion, I have a message, help me spread it. It doesn't work that way if you're not President Obama. If you know how to become president, let me know. But until then, what every media pirate needs is a hook.
Oh, God.
That was accidental the first time, but I've decided to accept it and feel a little bit of guilt, to be honest. I'm sorry, but you do need a hook. You need something to make the media want to cover you, want to spread your message. So when you're thinking about contacting the media, think about what it is that makes your ideas newsworthy. So on campus, these are some examples. Creative ideas. People are really interested in creativity, in novelty. So soul auctions is something that some of the campus groups have done, where you auction off your soul. You know, people can bid on the soul of the atheist. I believe it was UC Texas Austin. Maybe Debbie can help me out. That sell your soul for a cookie. Great event. Got coverage in their little in their school newspaper. Send an atheist to church, where I think Jen's group did this. Picture might actually be of their group at Purdue, where different people bid to send the atheists to their choice of church. So this raises money for a good cause. It was a charity, and got them attention in the school paper. Have a Good Friday night. I love this one. At the University of Illinois, right before Good Friday, they had signs, have a Good Friday night, passed out condoms, and told people about the Vatican stance on HIV/AIDS. I'm hoping more groups do this. I just think the wording is clever. Have a Good Friday night. It's very appropriate for colleges, and it's really creative. And Ask an Atheist Day. This is one we're really excited about. It's a national event this coming Wednesday that, again, the University of Illinois started trying to make it a big thing. Groups do this all the time, but when it's a national movement, we now have somewhere between 75 and 100 groups just requested our stickers to do this on Wednesday. I don't know how many other groups are participating, but it's something that, if you're not in our movement, this is new and strange. Another thing the media loves to cover, and this is a good hook, is counterintuitive points of view. We have an edge. Here are some counterintuitive points of view that we might want to spread. Gods don't exist. Counterintuitive to most people. We just voice our opinion, and it startles people. That's newsworthy sometimes. Church and state should be separate. Also counterintuitive to a lot of people. Voicing it to especially very conservative communities, standing up for the separation of church and state is something that doesn't get heard very often. And atheists can be good people too. That somehow is controversial, counterintuitive. How many of you remember this? Don't believe in God, you are not alone gets attention. You can get coverage for ideas that we consider innocuous and yet are really strange to these people. We just, as August mentioned, we just got into the New York Times for a story about our high school group at Panama City that J.T. Eberhard has been working with in our new push to organize at high schools. And what is so newsworthy about this group? They're getting along with the Christians. What are they planning to do? They're thinking about starting an ultimate frisbee team. It's new. It's in the New york Times.
Where's this?
New York Times story. It's at our table. We have a laminated copy to check out. Panama City, Florida. So, high school group. So, but when you're thinking about things that are really creative, the idea is not just to be creative and edgy for the sake of being edgy. The idea is that you want it to draw them in at the beginning towards something else. So I've been working with campus groups mostly, and some of them are doing it, are trying to publish their message without the hook. So the boring angle would be SSA at Borrington College hosts P.Z. Myers lecture. Yeah, it's true. But it's not the hook. People are not going to be drawn in by that. Instead, famous atheist biologist to expose holes in religion. Go with that. Little punchier. SSA group forums on campus. Now, that actually has gotten attention. I'm thinking of Arkansas State. They got a television segment for starting. But This is not as interesting as first ever atheist club gives University of Awesomeness new diversity. The diversity angle is excellent. The California Lutheran University, CLU, our group there, the student body, the president of that club, the SSA at California Lutheran, already neat. We have a secular student group at a Lutheran university, but the president of that club ran for and won the election for student body president of the Lutheran College. That is the story that was covered in the Chronicle of Higher Education. So diversity, neat. Counterintuitive diversity, better. And non-theist challenge misconceptions, neat. But campus-wide Ask an Atheist Day sparks curiosity would be a better headline, a better hook, a better way to draw people in. But once you've gotten their attention, what is it you actually want people walking away with? Do you want them walking away with the idea, oh, that's funny, they're using water balloons instead of stones, so we're not really stoning them. No, you're trying to get some deeper message. If you want to change the world and change people's opinion, you've got to tell them what to believe. So, atheists are okay people. You might want them walking away with that idea, that they can show up to an event, that, or that they're not alone. If they are already non-believers and non-theists, humanists, hearing about this, they might feel included. So, how do you get the message across? Talking points, I know framing and talking points sounds bad, but they're a really concise way of getting this message across, and you can spend time to think about them and craft them. So these are examples from some of the press releases that we've been sending out from the SSA recently. We would rather have social understanding than legal victory. This is something our executive director, August Brunsman, is saying about the right for high school atheists to form groups. Yes, the law is on our side, but the message we want people walking away with is not that we will use the law to our advantage. We want people walking away thinking that they have the right to, that we're normal, and that we would like it not to be an issue at all. Our goal is to be obsolete. We would love for atheism and humanism to be accepted and normal on campus. But the question is not whether we can get a group on every campus, but when it will happen. Some of the press releases that we like to send out is how fast our movement is growing. Sometimes in a scary way, but sometimes in a promising way. Some of these quotes are just about how fast we're growing. Fast growth, interesting. And I will skip the third, but to JT's quote from his high school press release. Every teenager deserves a safe space to meet with like-minded peers, but hostile administrations and prejudiced communities are stonewalling them from having it. We tried to really fit JT's mood and attitude with this one. But it really is sort of setting it up as we are on the right side. We should be allowed to do this. We should be normal. Everybody should agree with us. I like people walking away from media thinking, yeah, that makes sense. So trying to present it in a way that makes them think they already agreed with you and you've won. So you can't just walk up to anybody, even if you have the greatest pitch, the greatest hook. If you're going up to a sports writer in the wrong city, obviously it's pointless. So you need to know who to send these messages to, and I can actually help with that. So you need to know the right audience. So a magazine that covers, sports, not right, but sometimes you just want to pay attention to the campus paper. Sometimes it's in your community. Sometimes it's a larger event that you can contact state papers, even national. The Associated Press might cover something that's nationwide, even if you started it in a local group. The right medium, radio, TV, print, these each have advantages and disadvantages. So knowing who to call for what can make a difference. And as I said, I can help. This is my job. I'm here to help the student groups, and if local groups ask me for this, and I would love to help. I care about this movement beyond just the students. We are a big part of where the movement is going, but that's not all there is. Personal appeal. So if you know who you're targeting, sometimes you can do it just with a personal email. If you know somebody in the campus paper, send them an email, give them a phone call, say hi to them in the gym and say, hey, I've got a story idea for you. Because journalists are people, believe it or not. Just like August was saying earlier today, that foundations are run by people, work with them. It's a relationship that you need to foster because they have a job, they want news to tell people. You have a job, you have something, you want to give them news. This should work out perfectly. So sometimes it can just be an email. Let them know you exist. If nothing else, this is something that all of you can do. Contact somebody in the paper, and either the faith or the politics or the community section and say, hey, by the way, we wanted to let you know this is our group, this is what we do. But mostly, if there's a story about these issues, we're available to be the other side or to have an opinion. Really, if nothing else, this is easy and you can all do it. That was my one animation that I have to do having this. Online outreach. JT is talking about this a little bit more, so I'm making it brief, but blogs. They are extremely targeted audience. People who are going to the Friendly Atheist are already interested in atheism, in the news of our movement. Even if they're not atheists themselves, they're interested in what is being said. So they can be extremely useful, and it can just be as easy as emailing them. One thing that does work to our advantage is you can research these bloggers. If you read them already, you can talk about their coverage and say, hey, great job with your healthcare coverage. I have a story for you. It shows that you know that they're the right person to contact, that you follow their stuff, and it's much more personal. If out of the blue you got an email about God knows what that wasn't related, I imagine you'd be pretty angry. Show them that you care, that you did your research. Online submission, a lot of news places these days have tips online that you could submit. I find they don't work as well. I like finding the contact for the journalists and emailing them personally, but sometimes that's an option. If you can't find their email address, I can help if you're willing to. And the Young Turks University channel. I wanted to bring this up because the Young Turks is an online news show run by Cenk Uygur, and it's huge. And they reached out to us specifically to let us know that they are doing a university channel that is focusing on student news, student issues, and they want submissions from students. So if you take some time, you can upload for free 5-minute videos or less. And they didn't say they'll guarantee they'll air it, but if you do a good job, they will talk about it, they'll show it. This is a great chance to advertise your group to an online community, to change people's opinions, rile them up. After a discussion, if you think it was a really good discussion, sit down and talk about the issue on camera. Submit it. See if they'll devote a segment to it. I mean, this is going to grow. We're getting in on the ground floor. They're a really successful online show, and this is our chance to make a difference going forward. Letters to the editor. So there are two other sort of bread and butter ways to reach out to the media. Letters to the editor are just what it sounds. You send a letter expressing your opinion from your own point of view. So the hooks tend to be offering the other point of view in a story. So if a news article just presented one side and you thought it was biased, you can send the other side. If you are responding to particularly a public statement that was really bad, you can say, we were offended, we were hurt that you didn't mention this or that. Honoring an anniversary works well as a hook for letters to the editor. And they're more likely to be printed. These are things to keep in mind when you're writing them. If you're responding to recent issues, it doesn't work very well to say, I'm writing about something that happened 4 months ago. So don't even waste your time on that if it takes you a while to get to it. Using local angle and statistics. Really key to show that you're involved in the community and speaking from a position of authority. Signing it, unless you're influential, just saying that you are, if you say you're Barack Obama writing a letter to the editor, yes, that will get in. If you say you're Joe Schmo, not as likely. If you say you are Joe Schmo representing the group of 75 people in the community, much more likely. Oh, and following the guidelines. If they have a word limit, if they have a style guide, follow it. I mean, it should be common sense, but it's easy to forget. I wanted to try to quickly show an example. This is at University of Oregon. They printed an anti-atheist screed. Really, it was criticizing the atheist group there, which is the Alliance of Happy Atheists, by the way. It was as cheerful as can be, and they got slammed. And the group, the author called them idiots and dipshits. This was the edited version, I assume. So I don't know what it was like before they edited it, but they printed this. And so the president, Lucy Gubbins, the most bubbly and cheerful person ever, wrote back this letter to the editor saying, hey, I think, don't know why you would print this. We're so different. By the way, you should all come to our event to see that, that we're great people. So just completely turned it on its head, got it printed, and I thought it sent a great message. And then press releases. This is the standard way to contact the media. And I can help with this as well. But it's written like the perfect article. Objective, you tell news in it with opinions in quotes. So if a news article said, Bart Ehrman, the most awesome biblical scholar ever, has this opinion. It strikes you as a little strange to be in a news article. Same thing for press releases. You don't use opinion unless you're quoting, like, August Brunsman said, "We're so thrilled to show that atheists are normal." You need to do it that way. Lead with the hook, follow with the message. So many times journalists are only seeing the subject line of an email or the first line. If you lead with, biologist P.Z. Myers will be coming to the University of such and such to give a lecture on this. Yes, that's the news, the who, what, where, when, why, but they might not make it through the sentence to the rest. That's why it's so important to get your hook straight. Spend some time, think about it. The advantage of these is that I wanted to show another success of one of our groups about the drama Hamid Data they participated in at the University of South Carolina. Quote, "Our participation in this event is not to promote blasphemy or religious hatred. It is to be able to act on the freedoms guaranteed us by the Constitution without fear for our safety afterward." Now, that's a great quote. Did he think of it on the spot? No, it's right there in the press release. They used his exact quote from the press release, which happens a lot. If you spend the time to figure out how your talking points can be incorporated, the journalist will use it as if it were being said live. It really changes your view when you're reading the news to think that what people said was not off the cuff, that they sat down and thought, all right, how do we phrase it? No, let's change this word, tweak that. My reading the news has completely changed since getting this job and feeding journalists what I want them to do. It has a very specific format that can be tricky. I can help, and a lot of this is up online at our media relations page. So if you get bogged down in the details, come to our page and make sure you're following it. But it follows a typical pattern, and if you follow it, you look professional. They take you more seriously. Last thing, follow-up calls are really useful. Now, you're not calling to ask if they got it. That's actually really rude because a lot of the time they didn't bother to read it. It's just the truth. They're not always reading every email. But if you call and say, did you have any questions? I wanted to ask, if there was any other information you got. A lot of the time they'll say, what press release? And you have a chance to pitch it again, live on the phone. Works a surprising amount of the time if you target them well, and I can help you figure out who to target. As I've been saying, I am here to help with this. This is my job. I would love to see more groups doing it, because if you want to change the world, changing people's minds is the best way to do it. I'm a huge supporter of grassroots organizing now that I've been doing this and seeing how much of an impact it has. And there's no reason not to get help. They want to do it. You want them to do it. Make it happen. I'm online always. Depressing amount of the time. Call. As August says, yes, there's the crazy thing called the internet, but I'm also at the phone, Twitter, Facebook, that's mostly me, so reach out and let me know what's happening.
You do chat? You chat with
yes.
Facebook?
Yeah.